Welcome to CAD. This is the Do Nothing Machine video, and you have to start SolidWorks obviously first. If you're fortunate, there might be a Start button on your taskbar for the current SolidWorks, but most of you won't have that. So what you will do is hit Start, scroll down until you find SolidWorks. Okay, so there's SolidWorks, and then you want SolidWorks to program. You click on that. Takes about a minute to load. And there's certain things we have to remember to do each time when we load this software. Because you guys are now signing in with your own emails, the information is not kept from person to person until you become a permanent member of, say, if you become part of CAD. We're going to minimize that. We're going to go File, New. We're just going to click on Part, hit OK. It'll take a few seconds to load. And there's two things we're going to do in the beginning of each one of these models that we create. So we're going to hit the down arrow by the eyeball. We're going to make sure the origin is on. So this little like blue L shows up. And in the bottom right corner, you got to change your measurement system. So right now it's on inch, pound, second. We want to go to millimeter, gram, second, because this part is done in metric. And then next we're going to go over here in the design tree. We're going to click on top plane. And then up here in the middle, we're going to be looking down at the top plane. So you would have clicked this, and you can also see when you hover over it, it says top. And then we're going to sketch. So we have to turn on sketch, upper left. And then we have different ways of drawing rectangles. We want to do a center rectangle. We hover over the origin, click and drag, hit the escape button once. And then we're going to do a smart dimension. We know that this is 100 millimeters in both directions. And you can see that the whole profile is turned black. And as we like to say here in CAD, that black is beautiful, and that means that this part is ready to go. And then we're going to go to an ISO view up here. Okay, it turns to that, and still within sketch, we're going to hit over here in the upper left, features. And in this case, we're going to hit features, and we're going to hit extrude, boss base. You can see it turns yellow, but we have to change that thickness. And that thickness is going to be, so if you double click, you can see it's turned to this blue. We're going to change that to 50. Okay, and then just click, like maybe up here in blind. Now you can see how thick it has gotten. Okay, and the middle mouse button will let you zoom in and out. And blind, so you can go in two directions. You can go down or up. We want to go in the up direction, and the happy check mark. And then we're going to want to save. So as you're saving your parts, you're going to save as, okay, and you're going to go to desktop, okay, and you're going to save like your last name, dash, and this is called the base. So it's going to be last name and then what you're working on, which is called the base. And then you'll see that up here in the middle, it's actually changed to whatever your last name is, and then what is the part you're working on. It's the base. And now we have to put a couple slots into this thing. So before you saw we could draw on a plane, you can also draw on a surface. So let's go back into here. So we're looking at the top. We're going to click on that surface, turns blue, and then we're going to go and we're going to go sketch again. And we're going to do yet another center rectangle. From there, and we're going to drag this, and we're going to drag it until you can see where it changes yellow, and it's saying that it's tangent to that edge, and you're going to hit escape once. So being that they're black, they're aligned with the edge of the part, and then you're going to tell it how wide is it. In this case, it's 15 millimeters. And then we're going to go to ISO. Right, and we're going to extrude cut this, so we're going to features, and we're going to go extrude cut, and we're going down 15 millimeters. So in this blue section, you would type in 15, And the blind, as you can see, I just clicked on the arrows and it's changed the depth, and it gives you a preview and a happy check mark. Again, top view. Okay. Select that surface. Sketch, sketch, set a rectangle again. This time though we're going vertically, and again just get it so it's tangent to that edge, so you see it turned yellow. Oh, ooh, mistake. That's okay. I'll get rid of my mistake. Let's do that again. All right, and I drag it up, turns yellow. Escape once. I escaped too quickly just a second ago. And again, how wide is it? It's 15 millimeters. And then we'll go into an ISO view. And we're going to take that and we're going to extrude cut that. 15. 15 is already filled in because you used 15 just a minute ago. And the happy check mark. So now we have something, and if we use our middle mouse button, hold it, we can actually rotate the part a little. And we say we've created basically a cross within the top of this. Go up here, just hit save, just click on the icon itself. And now we're going to go to the next part. So this part stays open. We're File, New, Part. OK. We're going to make sure that our origin is on and that our dimensioning is in millimeters. So that's all good. And the next piece we're going to do is called the bush. And we're going to start off with, looks like a top view again. So top plane in your design tree, top view looking down, sketch, center rectangle from the center. And we know that the bush is 25 millimeters long. Okay. And we know that it is 15 millimeters wide. And what else do we know? That's about it. We're going to go to isometric view. And we're going to go into features, and we are extruding in the upward direction again. So we hit extrude boss base. And it is 20 millimeters thick. So even though it's highlighted, type in a 20. All right, you can hit the blind check mark, or not but the arrow, you know, if you want to go up or down, we want to go up. Happy check mark. And we can use this to do a zoom fit. And we're going to save this quickly. So save as, right? And then make sure again you're in your desktop when you're doing this. And your last name. Dash bush. And hit save. So again, up here, last name, whatever your last name is, and bush. And the next thing we need to do is add a circle to this, or a cut. So we're going to go to top view. And what we're going to do here is select the surface. Just like before, you can sketch on planes. You can also sketch on a surface. And we're going to hit sketch, sketch. And we're just going to do the first option for circle. We're going to hover over the origin. You can see it, a little yellow thing comes up. We're just going to drag the circle out. Doesn't matter how big it is. Hit escape once. Smart dimension. We're going to click the edge of the circle. We're going to drag this out. And it is 5 millimeters in diameter. Okay. So you see the 5, and it's black. The reason it's black is because it's about the origin. And we can go into ISO again, because now we're going to go into features, and we're going to do an extrude cut. And how deep do we make it is 10. So this sort of blue highlight, 10. And if I click the arrows, you can see how it's shortened. Happy check mark. And then again, if I use the middle mouse button, I can grab and sort of drag, and you can see that there's a hole that is approximately half the thickness of the bush. And hit save. Part number 2 is done. Part number 3 is called the rod. So, File, New, Part. Okay, it's blank again. And turn on the origin. Change it to metric. Change it to metric. Okay, it's changed to metric. We're going to go to looking down, top plane, sketch, sketch. And let's see, it looks like we're going to be doing a center rectangle again from the origin. So click and drag. Smart dimension, it is 15 millimeters wide. And it is 150 millimeters long. Okay, it doesn't fit, so you can hit the zoom to fit. Now your drawing fits. And we'll go into ISO again. And we know this thing is 10 millimeters thick. So go into Features, Extrude. And we're going to type in 10, but it's there already, but we're not going to do blind this time. We're going to click that, and we're going to hit mid-plane. So you can see that it's going basically up 5 and down 5. And we are going to say that we are happy with that. Okay. And then we're going to go to a top view again. And again, we're going to sketch on that surface. And we have to do an extrude up. So we're going to be putting some pins on this. So we're on that surface, sketch, sketch, circle. Now when you're hovering, you're going to see like these little dotted lines sort of show up, that it's like attached to the origin. So I'm going to go and drag and click, and then do another one where it comes the dots off the center. Just drag and click, because we're going to use Smart Dimension. And with that, we are going to make them 5 millimeters in diameter. So click on the outside diameter, 5, happy check mark. And this one, 5 and a happy check mark. And so that's that. And then we have to give it a location. So we're going to have to use some construction lines now. And we're going to use the line, which is also called the center line in this case. If you hover over the edge, see how it finds the midpoint? So you're going to come out to the center of this circle. And then also to the center of this circle. So we know they're all aligned. Hit escape once, so you see 2 black lines. And now we have to give them some dimension. So this first one is just 15 millimeters. And the next one is from the edge, which is an orange, to the center of the circle. So just grab the outside diameter. We're going to drag that down. And that is going to be an odd dimension. It's going to be 46.29. And then if I go to ISO, and they are going to stick up. So we're not doing a cut. We're going into Features, Extrude Boss Base. And they need to stick up 15 millimeters. Right. So again, if I do blind in one direction, you can't really see them sticking up. Go in the other direction, they are. That's the way we want them. The happy check mark. And then we're going to do one more thing to finish this part. And we're going to go to the bottom view. Right? We're going to sketch on this surface. We are going to do a sketch, sketch, circle. So see if you can get those dots as the line up. Click and drag. Size doesn't matter right now. And it is going to be 5 millimeters in diameter. And we know know that it is a dimension from the edge, so we're going to use construction line again, or center line. Hover over this edge, you see it picks up the midpoint to the center of the part, the little orange dot, and a smart dimension of 30 millimeters. Okay, so it's moved it. And then we're going to hit escape once, get out of smart dimension. Middle mouse button, we're going to rotate. Okay. And we need to extrude this. So we're going to extrude that, not that far, just 10 millimeters. Okay, and if I click on the arrow, you can see it's kind of shortened, gives you a preview. And then again, you can, we sketched on a surface here. We can also sketch on a surface here. So we're going to grab the end of this thing, sketch, circle. This one's a little trickier. You got to hover over the edge, and if you look very closely, a center point has shown up. Okay, and then you can see that it's picked up the center point where the little yellow deal shows up. We're going to click and drag, and we're going to call this 16. Okay, and we are going to make it 45 millimeters long. So we're going to go into features, extrude. We're going to go up. So the blue again, 45. Click the arrows. And you can use, like I said before, you can use the middle mouse button not only to hold and rotate, but just using it to go and zoom in and out. So we've got the right deal. And there you go. So would you really create a part like this to make this assembly? Not 100%. Okay, these round pieces would be separate. This handle would be separate. And all right, so we're going to do save as. All right, and just like last time, it is make sure you're in desktop. So click desktop. Click in here. Last name. All right. Dash, and this is called the rod. So this whole assembly is only 3 pieces. So next thing, we're going to create, we've created the parts, now we're going to create the assembly that makes this thing work. So File, New, now we're going to hit Assembly, the middle button, hit Okie dokie, and let it load up. Loading, still loading. Okay, so certain things. It comes up with some stuff. Don't worry about this on the left yet. Let's see if we can turn on our origin. And we could. We cannot mess with inch, pound, second, or metric yet. These things come up and it's going to ask, what do you want to bring in? All right, so the first thing that we drew was the base. So we're going to click on it. And if I sort of just move my mouse around, you can see that it's free floating. But if I put my cursor over the other L, the assembly L, and you can see the part itself has its own L. If I hover over that, they all become the same thing. You click, and you're happy. Okay, and there it is, right? And then if I look over here on the design tree, it says last name base, and there's an F in front of it, which means it's fixed, it's not going to move. And the next thing we want to do is save as. So we're going to do a save as, again in desktop. And then we're going to call it last name, just like we have been. Especially helps if you type it right, last name, dash, and we're going to write ASSY, which is an abbreviation for assembly. Okay, and again, last name, ASSY, shows up there. All right, so ASSY is abbreviation for assembly. And now we're going to go into insert a component. All right, so it's an existing part or assembly. All right, that little menu comes up again, and you're going to need a bush. So we're going to take that, and we're just going to click somewhere, and then we're going to go insert component existing. We need a second bush. We'll just drop it over here somewhere. And then lastly, we're going to go into insert component. All right, and it is an existing part, which is the rod. And we'll just sort of drag that and just click it somewhere. Doesn't really matter. We'll do a zoom fit. All right, everything is here. Let's hit save just quickly. And now we have to do some simple mating, it's called. So we're going to be mating. So I'm going to select on this bush, this surface. I'm going to click mate. Okay. And then I'm going to use my middle mouse button and rotate just a bit so I see this surface. And if I click that, you're going to see it kind of moves a little. Happy check mark. And then we're going to use the middle mouse button. We're going to rotate until we can see the underneath of that part. And we're going to click this surface. Then we're going to use the middle mouse button to rotate again. And we're going to want to mate it to this surface. Okay? A happy check mark, and then happy check mark again to get out of that. Now if I grab this block, if I click on it, and if I drag, I can go back and forth. So it knows that it stays on that surface and it stays within that slot. And we'll put it about here. The other one, a little trickier, but not much so. Click mate again, get the tool running. We're going to click this surface, and then we're going to click this surface, and it should spin it, which it did. Happy check mark. Now it's kind of like sort of on top of the part. It may happen that it's on top of the part. It may not. Depends where you put it, somewhere. But I can get out of this just quickly. So hit the happy check mark again and mate. I'm going to grab this, and I can move this to the outside. And then middle mouse button, click and rotate. We're going to grab the bottom surface. We're going to rotate. Let's do a quick zoom fit. And we're going to click mate. All right, so it already has the face of that. You can see it's still highlighted. And then using the middle mouse button to zoom in or out, I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to select this surface. And happy check mark. And happy check mark again. And if I zoom out and grab the part, it should be moving across the other axis. And I'm going to put it about here. And save and save often. His rebuild. Don't show this again. Right, save the document without rebuilding. Will work fine. Sometimes little errors come up. Really shouldn't mess with you too much. Now this thing is upside down right now. And we did it on purpose just to make your life more exciting. So up here we can do move component, but in the drop down we can also do rotate components. We're going to click rotate. We're going to grab this part, and as I use the left mouse button, I can rotate it. Click and hold it again, rotate it a little more so it's kind of facing sort of the right way. It still really isn't, but it's good enough for what we need to do right now. And first thing we're going to do is we'll do a fit, and then middle mouse button, we're going to hold it and rotate, and we're going to grab, let's see, what do we want to do? We're going to keep rotating right now while I think through the process. Okay, so we want the bottom surface of this. Okay, then we're going to use middle mouse button, not pushing it down, just to zoom out. Now pushing and rotating, we're going to want that bottom surface, and if I rotate this a little more, and then I zoom in with the mouse, right? And so just using the middle mouse button just to go back and forth. We're going to mate. So it's already telling me the face of that thing is there, and we want to grab this face. Okay, happy check mark. Let's do a fit. Right, it looks pretty wonky right now. So if I use the middle mouse button and hold it, it's at the right depth, but it's not centered where it needs to be. And if I use middle mouse button, zooming in and out, the next mate we want to do is we're going to grab the outside diameter. Okay, so it's going to say the face. And then if I grab middle mouse button and rotate a little, and I zoom in, if I grab this, you can see it's in the center now. Happy check mark, right? And happy check mark. Do a fit. Okay, and not all of your guys and gals, your stuff is going to look the same, but you sort of have to just follow it through and trust that everything will work. Next thing, now we've already determined earlier, because we know the blocks are the same, that we don't have to set the depth right now. So mate, we're going to grab the outside diameter of the other extrusion, and then we're going to zoom in, possibly rotate a little. We're going to grab this, right? And you can't really see what's going on, but we're going to hit happy check mark. Hopefully everything's worked. Happy check mark it again. And then we're going to hit fit. Ah, look at this. So now both of those are concentric in the holes. Now none of these are fixed, which is okay. You need minus signs in front of them, otherwise the thing won't move. Let's hit a quick save. If I grab the handle and I start rotating the handle, the do nothing machine should be doing, well, nothing, but it should be doing what you see it doing. All right, so if I grab that handle by the outside diameter, that face, there you go. It's doing something. When you are done and you've gotten to this part, you will get the instructor or a senior that may be helping so that they can get a grade in that you've done the base, the bush, the rod, and then you've created the assembly, and that when you grab onto this outside diameter and rotate it, it is working correctly to get full credit. Okay, and then we're going to save one more time, and that is your SolidWorks assembly in something very simple. Remember, once you get to this point, you can prove that it rotates correctly, get the instructor or a senior to make sure everything is happy.